Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on PTS FM, and I'm here with the very lovely LB. How you doing, LB?
Hola, I'm well. How are you?
I'm all right. This was really unexpected, but that's okay. I haven't actually taken my clothes off yet, but I'm in the process.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you, man. Getting late.
Nice.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Go to
So
bed maybe later, something like that.
maybe
So,
I don't know,
uh,
but I was promised nudity and cocaine if I open the stream. So bring
I
it on.
I saw that. I'm not a avid cocaine user these days in my life, but nudity's fine, I suppose.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a user, just a bringer.
Oh well, I don't like have connections anymore. Just don't
Oh,
live
I
that
got
life
you. Okay.
anymore. But
Well, I
yeah,
mean that's okay. You weren't the one that promised it anyway. It was somebody.
absolutely. There, you okay? You're on your cell phone, right? When you do this,
Yes, that's all I use is a cell phone.
and yeah, I do too usually. But I sometimes I have the laptop so I can comment. You can't comment in the chat if you're on your cell phone, right? And in Streamyard.
Yeah, you can. Oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Maybe. Look, I can't remember. Yeah, I think you can as a guest. You
How do
can when
you?
you're running it, but um, go to comments and then
I
or
have no
may
like
hold on a second.
slot to comment at the bottom.
Okay, you don't have a thing that says more.
No, not at all.
Okay, like I can't remember as a guest if you can do that or not. It's been yeah, it tells you how often I go on other people's panels nowadays.
Well, anyways, people said hi. I say hi back. I can't comment. That's my point
All right.
because I'm on my
Yes,
cell phone.
JFK. I've had Mitch up here. He had a few misconceptions that I had to straighten out, but yeah, he's been up here once, I think.
Who is that?
Mitch.
Oh, he was on Meows earlier tonight.
Oh, was he? I must have missed him.
Like at the very beginning, he had a whole little compilation of the things that Tommy said about Meow, and he played it for
Hmm.
Meow. Yeah, that was interesting, I guess. I couldn't believe he answered the phone for him last night. I was like, "Oh, I wasn't there last night, but I rewatched it this morning, and I was totally shocked he answered the phone in the middle of the night. Like, man,
Hmm.
I feel like he only did
I
that to use it against him today, but who knows?
I know nothing about this. I haven't been watching very
Oh,
much in the
well,
way of
yeah.
panels today.
Meow had a stream last night and he called Tommy in the middle of the night once. And then the second time he called him, Tommy actually answered and he said something along the lines of, "Hey, chip tooth drunk Mark," something along those lines, and
Hmm.
stop calling and harassing me. And then on his chit chat today, he said he was going to file a police report.
Oh, what
So,
a crybaby.
yeah. Well, and Meow said he hasn't called him since the Hummer was on Craigslist, so that was a while ago. But I mean, his number's out there.
Hmm.
Other people might be calling. I think he thinks every call he gets is Meow.
Well, Tommy's just a bitch, no matter what.
Vic's up late. Don't you have work tomorrow? I've called Tommy times tonight. Victorious? Vic is calling Tommy too? Yeah. Hey, Mark, you chip tooth
Whoa,
drunkie. That's what he said.
that's crazy, Ghost.
Oral copulation of child under 10? What's oral What's that mean? Like oral sex? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Christ, that's sick. Hey, did you? I asked Mark about this, but he doesn't follow the news apparently. Did you see what's going on in Memphis? They released the body
No,
cam footage of those cops fucking that guy up that died.
I haven't. I know that happens all too often.
Yeah, they it just. I think they pulled him over on the 9th, I think it was, for reckless driving. you didn't see that footage, but they did release the footage of it was like a offshoot of the gang task force. They call them the Scorpions, and these guys fucked this guy up for like 3 minutes straight. He was totally
Mm.
out of it. They were punching him in the face, and he died 3 days later. And they were protesting a couple hours ago. They're waiting for it to turn into riots, I guess, but I haven't
Wow.
seen if it's
Were the
escalated.
cops fired or charged or
Yeah,
anything?
all 5 cops have been fired, and 2 EMT workers that showed up that did nothing. Yeah, it was awful. The footage, it was fucking sick. I mean, it was, and it wasn't even good footage. It wasn't like close up, but just it was fucking bad. It was, And then after the guy was like down and out, they like propped him up against the cop car. He was totally out of it, and they were just like walking around. They weren't even watching him. He was so fucked up. They didn't even have to supervise him anymore. And a bunch of other cops were showing up, and they were like, "Oh, he grabbed my gun, and he's so high. He was so strong." And it was like there
Mm.
was 5 of you guys, like there, and you could see in the videos they were just like walking up from far away and like cold cocking this kid. I mean, young. He was in his 20s, young guy, 29, I think it said. Just it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was real bad. That's gonna be like, yeah. I guess in Memphis, I read earlier today before they released the footage, businesses are boarding up. They're worried it's gonna turn into like a all out city riot and all that stuff.
Well, I can understand. I mean, not rioting, but I can understand demonstrating if like the cops just were let off scot free. But like shit's happening and they're still gonna riot. They're just looking for an excuse to loot and burn shit
Yeah,
down.
not the beginning of the demonstration I saw where they were right after the footage was released. They were they were talking, whoever these people were at the beginning of the protest, and they were the gang task force disband because apparently this was like a offshoot of the gang task force. They called them the Scorpion Unit, and I guess they had a pretty bad reputation for traumatizing people, threatening people, doing some really crazy
Yeah,
stuff. And they want like that disband. They want the gang task force disband and a bunch of other. They have a bunch of demands. But I mean,
a
I
lot
think
of
real things take time. I would assume to do it the right way where they're not going to get sued. I would imagine.
I have
Uh,
worked with a wide variety of law enforcement, and there are, and the most cops are good, I believe, but there are a lot of them. They get fucking training and some machine guns, and they just itch for something to happen, so they have an excuse to kill somebody or fuck somebody up. I
yeah, these
didn't really
people.
work with the DEA too much, but they're known for that. I mean, they'll just go in and they'll get a no knock warrant and like they'll just go in and fuck shit up and kick in doors when a lot of times all you got to do is knock and say, hey, you're going to jail.
Yeah, they
Well,
they raided a house here in Atlanta and got the wrong house, and they kicked the
Hmm.
door in, and there was an old lady there, and she shot, because they she didn't know who it was, and they killed her. They shot
that
and
was
killed
the
her.
Yeah.
the boyfriend that shot, didn't wasn't it? And then the cop shot into the neighbor's house and
No, no,
everything.
that was that. Well, yeah, but see, that's a totally different person. This was before all of that happened. She
Oh,
was like a 80-year-old woman,
wow.
and they got the wrong house and kicked her door in, and she didn't know who it was and shot a gun, and they shot and killed her.
Oh my
Hmm.
god.
Yeah, it was an old woman, but they was protesting here, so they wanted to open up what they call Cop City, where they train the police officers. It's probably about 5 miles from my house. I know where it's at. That was an old prison, like a work camp type deal, and it's all dilapidated, and they're going to make a training place there to teach cops. Well, the protesters went there, started camping out and shit. So the city came in there and made them all move, because they had tents and shit. And one of the guys pulled a gun and shot at a cop, and a cop shot and killed him. And to me, that is justified because if you pull a knife on a cop, he has, he does have alternatives, use his taser, but if you done shot a gun at him, he has every right to take your life. And I believe that 100%. But another case in my neighborhood, probably 35 years ago, a guy named David Samples, he was a young kid, and he pulled a little knife on a cop, and the cop shot and killed him. But see, that was not justified because that kid, he wasn't a danger to the cop, and all the kid
If he had
wanted
a
was,
knife,
yeah, but it was a pocket knife.
it don't matter,
Okay.
Vic. I mean, I can kill you with a 1 inch blade, you know?
Yeah, well, a kid come at me with a knife, I could take the knife away from him. The cop had a
Hypothetically,
billy
yeah.
club. He was probably 15 feet away from the kid. But at the same,
If you pull a knife on somebody with a gun and they kill you, I've got no sympathy.
yeah, true, true. But the thing about the kid, he was from a troubled house, and his brother was in prison, and he wanted to see his brother, and that's why he did that. But
I
Mm.
I can
remember that when that happened.
I can
Like,
understand, the cop, his thinking too, survival. Cop, it's a hard job, and not only are you trained how to use your weapons and all of that, you have to be mentally stable and to do your job. And sometimes you get a loose cannon in there, and it just
Hmm.
makes everybody look bad. I mean, they go through PTSD sometimes, and they're human. They lose control of what they're doing.
well, it sounds like this Scorpion unit, the ones that killed this guy in Memphis, they were known for threatening people. I heard on the news today that somebody came forward and said they held a gun to somebody's head and were asking them where their drugs were, things like that. Just scare
I wouldn't put
tactics.
it past them. We
Yeah,
had what you
and
call Red Dog that did the same thing, and the Red Dog was the one that killed the old lady. An innocent
it,
person killed him.
in the video, you can see they had already beat the shit out of this guy, and then they held him up so another cop could just punch him in the face a few times. Another one of the cops came up with a baton, and they turned the back to him so he could bash him in his back a few times. They were fucking this guy up bad, and for no for running, he didn't have any weapons. He wasn't he couldn't even fight back. They were bigger than him. There was five of them. He shouldn't have. They were having fun beating the shit out of him.
Well, that's
Pretty
sad.
obvious.
But check this out. Just recently, when they rioted here in Atlanta, they burned like a Burger King or a McDonald's down. And what happened was there was a white cop and a black cop, and they the guy fell asleep at the drive-through. So they knocked on a window. He came to. They got him out of the car, and then all of a sudden he went to grab for the cop's taser, grabbed the taser from the cop, ran, turned around, and shot the taser. And if you look real closely, you can see the wire coming out of the taser. And the cop shot and killed him. Okay,
Jesus.
and someone said that he had been in trouble before, beating his wife and beating his kid. Now I don't know if that's true. I think his name is Rashad Brooks, and if that's the case, he had a bad record. Then the cop had every right to shoot the guy in the back. Okay, he ran, but the bad part was that there was a store between that guy that they were shooting at. And, the cop put everybody else in danger, because that stray bullet could have killed somebody else. But like you said, they want something to protest, get out in the highway, try to close the highway down. Uh, and the little gang members got in the middle of the street and stopped people from passing. And so somebody went through the made up roadblock that the gang members made, and they shot into the car and killed a little girl, an innocent girl. And this was after all of that happened. It's like a few days later, the little gang members thought they gonna take control of the road and stuff, and that's where it becomes
Vic,
real scary.
you got to turn off whatever it is you got playing.
Oh, I don't have anything playing, bro.
Okay, maybe it wasn't you. Somebody's got something playing in the background.
Not I.
No, I don't.
It's
I don't have
whoever
nothing
came
playing.
in.
No, I'll mute
Hmm.
myself.
No, you're okay. Hold
I don't have no. I don't think I have any noise going on
on.
here.
Sabrina.
Well, okay. Sabrina's muted.
Serena. Her
Hold on.
name's Serena.
Or Serena.
Did
God
you
dang it, I'm sorry.
did you see the footage, Serena? Have you watched that yet?
I have, and the thing is, see, I don't look when I mute my mic. I have nothing else on or open. Let me check. Hold on one second. Okay. Better? Why is I don't
I'm
know. I
getting
don't
her
know why it's
background,
open.
I think. When she talked, my shit lit up. Hang on, I'm gonna drop out and come back.
I was going to say, I think it's LB.
How about now?
All right. Oh,
Yeah, see,
yeah,
I
it
wanted
was
to
her.
ask LB about it because the Memphis incident, that's not most likely the first time that stuff happened. It happens all the time. And I think with every agency, you have rogue individuals within a team. I mean, it's bound to happen. It's just when does it come to light?
Right.
It's true.
Yeah, it's uncalled for and it's just barbaric behavior. But I think it happens more than we know.
Well, I had a black female officer stop me in my own neighborhood, ask me what am I doing here, and ask me where you going, where you coming from, and and I'm like, why are you stopping me? Did anybody call? No. I said, then I'm going home. And she kept on and kept on. So one of my neighbor joggers, they jogged by. I said, ma'am, come here for a minute. Would you tell this nice officer who I am before she shoots me? She's real threatening. And would you also call 911 and have a superior officer come out here? Because that one lady cop wasn't going to call her superior officer. And I was getting pissed. She's wanting to go in my bag. I had my tools in my bag, that's on wheels. And I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
allow her to open it up. And I got the superior officer out there, and he knew who I was and told her to leave me the hell alone. And I found out later she was a rookie.
Mm.
And see, the thing is, I think she had attitude. She didn't like white people with long beards.
Neither do I.
And you don't have that choice when you're in law enforcement. You can't decide
No.
whom you don't like based on appearance. You just can't.
Well,
And
I,
that's something
I
they should
asked her, I
totally
said,
know.
did you get any calls? And she said, no. Then I said, am I free to go? She says, no, you're being detained. And I told her on why. Well, you look suspicious. And that, oh man, you talking about someone really getting pissed off. And that's when I started getting sharp with her and define what she's saying. And she was getting real. She wanted to beat my ass, is what she wanted to do. But that's what that one neighbor saved my ass from going to jail by jogging and saying, "Oh, that's." She knew who I was and said that he's my neighbor. And that cop, she had to let me go, but I made sure that her superior come there, and I told him, I said, she don't need to be here. And I even went to my city council lady and told her, that this lady's a threat to society. She don't need to be out here. She don't need a gun. And I don't want her in my neighborhood. And they put her in another zone. They took her out of my zone and put her in a different zone.
Your home in your neighborhood should, for the most part, be your sanctuary. And when you can't feel safe with
Right.
law enforcement, that's the sad state of the world.
Well, everybody in my neighborhood knows who I am. And, not because I'm a bad person, but because, they just know me.
They know the naked guy with the long beard.
Right, right. The guy who jumps out of trees to
In
catch,
chat.
people who
Hmm.
do vandalism. They think I'm crazy. They actually think I'm crazy, but, that's another
Go
story at
figure.
another time. But I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna allow y'all go ahead and talk, and I have to get some sleep.
All right,
Six
man.
o'clock comes up early, so
Good night.
y'all take care.
Thank you.
Night,
Good
All
night.
Vic.
right, Vic. Thanks for coming on. I didn't finish check to see who I was. I was supposed to go live earlier this afternoon, but like other people were live, and depending on who they are, I don't do that. So I'm getting texts now because I didn't tell the people who wanted me to go live earlier because I
Right
didn't really want to
after
go
you
live
started
anyway.
this,
But
I saw Locke went live.
oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Oh, fuck it.
No, I didn't know either. I'm just saying I got a notification right after you went live. So it is. So you watched
Right
that
on.
that footage, Serena?
Yes. Yeah. When you
I
when you had dropped out, I was saying that it's completely unacceptable and barbaric. But unfortunately, I think it happens more than we know. And I think with each agency or group or militia or whatever, you're going to have rogue individuals, and it comes from self monitoring within organizations that it's going to be contained
I
or
mean, since
possibly.
since they've really cracked down on making I mean, I think most police forces have body cams. The fact that guy in one of the videos, that guy ripped his body cam off and threw it on the ground, and then in the other video you saw his body cam on the ground. He picked it
Yep.
up, put it back down again. And like,
Yeah.
this is exactly why you need body cams, and apparently these people haven't adjusted to the fact that they're being watched yet. And you just can't treat other humans like that. It's fucking sick. I was disgusted. I wanted. It was
Yeah.
just
See, I
bad.
can't really watch through all of that stuff. I catch a glimpse of it because it's just I'm too not only too much of a softie, but I'm too much of a humanitarian. Basic end of the day, a human being is a human being, and I can't. That kind of stuff just I don't like it.
Yeah, they said that I didn't hear. I couldn't listen to it all. I was skipping through parts of it, but I guess they were saying a bunch of fucked up shit, and
Hmm.
basically admitting that they beat the shit out of the guy, and they were blaming it on, oh well, he was high. It's like, okay, well, if he was high, you shouldn't have had to beat the shit out of him. Like either
Yeah.
fucking 4 or 5 of you, and I don't know. It was, and then they just left him there. They didn't render him any aid. Feel bad for his poor family. I kind of feel bad that it gets turned into like this big spectacle with Ben Crump every time now, because I feel like that minimalizes it for some people. But like, what else can you do? That's how it gets the attention it needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people
So
take that, see that, and see it as like, well, now it's like a circus.
yeah, well, that's today's teenagers and things like that. They're so desensitized to things like gore and fighting and things like that uh, it's really sad. It's the norm.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know anything about it. I started getting notifications that like, oh, they're going to release this in a couple hours, and then I went and did some research, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, it's too much.
It almost doesn't seem real.
Yeah, and
But they're
it
talking.
does happen everywhere, every day. I mean, maybe not to that extent, but it's and it's been going on for many, many years, many years.
I mean, body
Yeah,
cams help, but body cams are only as good as the footage that's actually kept. I mean, there's somebody above everything, you know,
right.
and that there's got to be departments where there's video that's gone missing somehow, some way.
Yeah, they cut out like sound before they got there. One of them got thrown on the ground, so you didn't see any of that. Just
Hmm.
and you didn't see any of the after footage of what people were saying and doing. I'm sure it was very telling. You know. They're kind of forced to put that shit out now, which is good, I guess, in a way. But I mean, they're charging them with murder, so maybe this will be the next Derek Chauvin case, because that was fucking some sick shit too.
Hey guys, I gotta back out for a second because somebody that wanted okay, earlier today, there's actually a couple of people wanted me to make a live because they got something they want to say. I didn't want to do it because one, I didn't feel like going live, and two, other people were live, and I didn't want to intrude on that. But they might want to come up now. Let me go. I can't text without back. Fuck it. No, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I don't even know for sure that it's gonna happen. I'll be right back. Okay.
You're in California, right?
Yes.
What time is it there?
11:12.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's after 2 here.
I know it. You gonna go to sleep pretty soon?
Oh, yeah, I'm getting there. We'll see what Bill says when he comes back.
I sound like a leech, but I'll drop out when you do.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got up to here. You never know with Bill.
Gotcha. When they were talking about the knife and the gun and all that kind of stuff, a lot of it comes with perceived threat too.
Well, like with me, that deal with my son's dad, he was walking around my house for a good 2 hours with this butcher knife, just pacing and saying some crazy shit. I could see it escalating, like the stuff he was saying, and but we didn't have like a violent relationship or anything. So I truly believe it was the drugs. I think he was hallucinating, honestly, because whatever, the things he was saying. And I really didn't perceive a serious threat, like he was actually going to stab me. It felt like he was more just trying to, like, I don't know, threaten me. He thought I had money, was what was going on. He was an addict. He thought I had money. He wanted it. Like, I don't have money. So, but, things like that. It's, once it escalates to a point, like, I would never put myself in that situation again now that it happened, But I do see how some people maybe don't have resources or aren't smart enough to get the resources, feel trapped, whatever. But
I don't know. I made it happen because it's like our stories parallel each other so much. When my situation happened, I was already divorced, and he had popped over something about our son, and I ended up having to leave my house with broken nose, all kinds of stuff like that, and I left my son there. I had to get away, and I didn't perceive that he did things to my son. At the time, I didn't know that he was on drugs. And it turned into later that day a big old car chase. And you went to the hospital, and I went to my dad's friend's house. My dad was in a motorcycle club, and so he was following me. And I knew he knew the house I was going to. He would not go to. He would not follow me there on that,
right.
attitude level. So yeah,
that's how I felt when I went to the hospital. Like, I knew it was going to be bad if I went there. I knew, CPS would end up involved, the police, the whole deal. And I really never wanted to escalate to that point, but it was like, okay, it's at that point. Like, I can't protect you. You've lost it at this point.
yeah.
So it is what it is. But if he was like some average, like, just boyfriend, I probably wouldn't have felt that way. But it was my son's dad, so I didn't want to be the one to throw him in prison. I guess.
Yeah.
That didn't like supersede protecting my kids, at all. And I remember, like, he was walking around the house with this knife and kind of like talking to himself, and he wasn't like necessarily threatening me, but just saying things. And then he kind of got like close to our son, and I was like, oh, and that's when things were like, oh, I gotta make a like escape plan, and I just kept acting like everything was fine, and just go to bed, go lay down, everything's fine. I kept just telling him to calm down, and I thought he did. I thought he went to bed. I was in the living room, and he just like came out and tackled me into the TV. And my son was like 2 feet away from me, and he just like choked me out until I stopped moving. And it was like, okay, and I pretended, I played dead, and then I booked it. As soon as he walked to the back of the house, I was fucking gone. And the thing that saved me, like I'm in an apartment building, he walked out the front of the building and I walked out the back. Otherwise, he probably would have caught up to me, but he got to the end of the building and I was at the other parking lot, which he didn't realize, it's kind of saved my ass. It could have been a lot worse, and that was like my wake up call. Like, okay, he's at a point where he's fucking dangerous, which I never thought it would get there, but it did. I've had way more abusive boyfriends than him, in the past. So, but drugs will make people do fucking crazy shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the verdict, Bill?
I'm waiting on an answer. They're kind of, well, I shouldn't say they. One of them's kind of mad that I didn't tell them that I was going live, but I wasn't expecting on. I wasn't planning on it until like well, you guys were there, so I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but we might just plan it for tomorrow instead, because I think they're kind of mad at me now.
Oh.
It'll be all right though.
Well, it's after 2 here. Serena said she's bouncing when I bounce. So if you're ready to go, or if you got something else going on, we can bounce.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I only went live because you guys wanted me to. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
But
we appreciate it.
so we do need to explain to Serena how things work around here. In my streams, it is a tradition to be fully naked while you're on the panel.
Done.
Cool. I like you already.
No, but thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad to have you.
What is chat after dark IA my favorite? What's that mean? Shit.
Uh-oh, we lost another one.
Yeah. I'm gonna head out, but thanks, and I'll turn on my alerts and get my notifications going.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good night. Good night.
All right. You have a good night. You come back anytime. All right. I think I'm just gonna wait and do this tomorrow, or I mean, later today, technically. Oh shit! Hang on.
I didn't mean to
There
do
you
that.
are.
Well, I was trying to
Well,
read
that's
something
okay.
in the chat, and I don't know, I touched something, cell phone.
Yeah, I do it all the time. So.
Do you know what that means? What Rod Plum means?
I don't think Rod knows what Rod Plum means.
Is he a plumber? Is that what the plum is?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's his actual last name.
Sabby. Is Sabby driving to Arizona yet? Arizona. Sabby, are you driving yet?
I don't know.
You're just like lost on everything. I did like a re-catch up today on something.
I haven't. Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been on panels today until like tonight. I was just kind of checking around and saying hello to everybody, and so like I didn't know about Meow Meow and what was called with Tommy. I didn't know. Like I don't know anything about what's happened today.
Yeah, I rewatched Meow's stream this morning from last night. It was actually a pretty good one. They talked about music for a few hours, which was cool. But and then the Tommy shit happened. But and Savvy's supposed to be going to a catch with Locke tomorrow, right?
Right. Yeah, I knew about that. Yep. Now was that tomorrow as in Sunday or tomorrow as in like later today, Saturday?
Sunday, I think at 12 was Sunday at 12 at Mountain Time. I think was the last thing I saw.
Yeah, 12 Arizona time. But I know originally it was planned for Saturday, and then it got switched to Sunday. But I didn't know if it changed back or what happened.
Well, I know I saw somebody said she had like a 17-hour drive. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a long freaking drive. It's crazy.
Yeah, I
Rod
haven't
Plum,
been on a real road trip in a long time.
he's talking in chat. Rod Plum, what does chat after dark IA my favorite mean? That's what I want to know. Yeah, you can go all the way from New York to Florida in like that amount of time. So I guess because I've always like traveled the East Coast up and down, never west. I don't know. I find like the amount of space between states over there is fucking crazy. You know?
Oh yeah, like I've driven from Indiana to Colorado and stuff a few times, and yeah, you can just go and go and go. It just seems like you're never gonna run out of road.
Yeah. Anytime I've ever been west, I've flown. So I've driven up and down the East Coast a bunch of times though, and that's pretty cool. But it's not anything like 17 hours. I've never driven to Florida though, but I used to drive back and forth to Baltimore a lot, and that was, a nice drive, 7, 8 hours. I find it
Yeah, I've
odd
driven to.
that New York
Go
City
ahead.
is 8 hours away from me because I'm like at the far end of New York on the other side. So it's always weird to me that New York City is so far away, but I can get to another state in 3 hours. You know.
Right.
Anyways, so you've driven where?
We used to drive. You can just get from where I'm at. I'm close to I-65. We just jump on I-65 and drive straight to Florida. I don't remember how long it takes. It takes. I mean, we would do it all in one shot, like just drive all night long. There was usually cocaine involved, but
Yeah, that helps, right?
oh yeah, you can drive for a long time on that shit.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I
say
think the far
it takes a lot longer than 17 hours to drive from the East Coast to the West Coast.
the farthest I've ever driven myself is like into the southern Delaware, which is about 8 hours from where I'm at. But I did Baltimore back and forth quite a few times when I lived there, just because before I realized that airfare was so cheap, you know, and I could do that in 45 minutes. Then I was driving prior to that. Well, and there was times I was moving things back and forth, to fill a vehicle or whatever. Not
Right.
drug, household things. Somebody said 17 hours and you're still in Texas. Is that real? Can you really stay in
Oh
Texas?
yeah, probably. I've never done it, but Texas is huge.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, like California taking up the whole West Coast. I find that kind of wild.
It probably does because it's about 6 hours to go from like the very top of Indiana to the very bottom.
I want to get my special license so I can go into Canada again. It's been years. Basically since 9/11, I haven't gone into Canada. But I used to, years ago, because I'm really close.
Yeah, I used to go up there to hunt and fish. It was a lot easier then. You didn't have to have, you could just have your regular driver's license, and they just most of the time wave you through. But um, sometimes when I was going hunting up there, I was taking my own guns, and you have to tell them, and then like you're there for an hour and a half while they give you the third degree about why you're trying to cross into, you know what I mean? I mean, usually they're pretty understanding, but it's a big hassle. So
I,
some of the
I,
times I just left my own guns behind and rented them when I got there.
yeah, that makes sense. I think it's easier to get into Canada, but once you're over there, if you don't have the right documentation, it's hard to get back. I've seen that more than the problems getting into Canada. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
know my mom got stuck at the border once. My stepdad had to go home and get her birth certificate and stuff to like get her back across the border. And I had friends that went over with no ID, and their parents had to bring their birth certificates up to get them back into America since 9/11. But I mean, we live here. We've been doing that our whole lives, so we didn't realize. And once you're over there, you're screwed. You're stuck.
Right. I haven't done it since for 9/11, but yeah, shit got a whole lot harder after that. Like it used to be. Oh man, I've already admitted to this, but um, they made it a lot harder since then with the so-called Patriot Act, which there's nothing patriotic about it. But back then, I know it sounds kind of morbid, whatever, but like if you could get a birth certificate of somebody about your age and your sex that died as a baby, if you had that birth certificate, you could start like a whole new identity and keep it going. Um, yeah. So, like you can get a driver's license. Like you just start having mail sent to your house in that name. So when you go to get like a utility bill, they ask for pieces of mail to prove you live there. So you just have pieces of mail in that name. And back then it was pretty easy to get a driver's license in that name. Not now,
Mm-hmm.
but once you already have it, it's pretty easy to maintain.
Right.
And you get credit cards and stuff, but you do want to pay them off because if you rip somebody off, that's when people start looking into you.
Right.
But yeah, you just get all this shit established with the credit history and all that kind of stuff, and then boom, you've got a second identity that you can just pick up and run with.
When I was
Allegedly.
down in Baltimore, we had a young Mexican guy that sold us pot down there that we had. He was a cleaner for the complex that we lived in, and my husband, my daughter's dad, was a maintenance technician, and they had a whole crew of cleaners, most of them illegal with fake documentation, and he told us that he had gotten pulled over and didn't have ID, but talked the cops into giving him a ticket, under whatever fake identity he gave them. He took that ticket to one of those, fly by night DMV places they have in the cities and ended up getting legit identification with the ticket the police gave him under a false identity. It's kind of wild, the shit that you could pull off. And that was after 9/11, but it was Baltimore, and it was like, whatever. We actually put a
Right.
vehicle. He had gotten a vehicle, and we registered and insured it for him and his girlfriend, and they got caught picking a dumpster behind a like strip mall. So when the cops called, my daughter's dad said that he stole the car. He goes, I don't know who he is. He stole my car. It was sitting in the parking lot, And I was like, he's got like a pregnant girlfriend. You can't do that. And so he called the cop back and goes, well, I guess my wife knows his girlfriend and let her use the car. And we went and picked up this guy's vehicle, which was really in our name, and we ended up picking him up from the police station a few hours later. It's quite a fiasco. All the fun times of my younger days. The city was fun. There's a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit down there.
Well, you get that many people condensed together, and a lot of bullshit's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe the shit this guy was getting away with. Like, he did have a legit ID, but it wouldn't run through, like, certain systems. So that was why he asked us to register this vehicle, I guess. And, yeah, he had, like, a 19-year-old pregnant girlfriend. He was young, too. He was only, like, 22. But I felt bad because his girlfriend was pregnant, and she was with him, and I was like, yeah. We had to, like, we watched the cops arrest him, and, like, we drove the vehicle away, and then we ended up picking him up a few hours later. It was like, oh my God. And I took his girlfriend with me, too, when he was getting arrested. Like, oh shit. He had been shipped out of America 3 times prior to that already.
Oh
But
wow.
once you get fingerprinted, they know who you are again. So he
Right.
is always trying to avoid that process. You know what I mean? But whatever, bullshit. They don't really. I never like. It was a real culture shock when I moved down there, to say the least. You know, we have other shit that happens in the country, but it's different than the city. You know, most of our shit happens and it's like in the behind a farmhouse, and you know, some bad shit happens and everybody ignores it, you know, just happens.
Yeah, it's amazing that, especially when substances are involved, it's amazing the stuff you can get into.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure. Does anybody know who Bumblebee was? I'm not sure if that's who I'm waiting on or not. I don't know who the hell that is.
Bumblebee? Is that
Well,
what you
there's
said?
Chuckles. Yeah, it was
Chuckles?
Bumblebee at first, and I didn't know the name. I didn't know if that was the person I was waiting on or not, but I don't think so.
Chuckles, what's with the alien face? You're silent.
We Yeah, we can't hear you. Speak to
Can't
us,
hear you.
Chuckles. We cannot hear you. No. Is that what Chuckles actually looks like? He just wears a human skin.
She's been doing this lately, so I think it probably is her,
Okay.
but she's definitely on mute or something is going on.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's the funniest I've ever heard her. Just kidding.
Oh, poor Chuckles.
I didn't know. I didn't know that she was. I didn't know somebody had banned her from my channel. I went and unbanned her a couple days ago
I don't know.
because that wasn't supposed to happen.
There she is. The few I have wrenches in a few places, but I don't ever use them. I do like it so I can click people's names and see their channels though, and see the deleted
Hmm.
messages. But otherwise,
Yeah.
there's times when like I'm going to bed at night and then time people out, and I'm like, yeah, that's like the downfall. But if I'm in a channel that I know I have a wrench, I'll keep my phone away from me now at night because I don't want to do that. But otherwise, I have no desire to ban or time people out.
Yeah.
I don't even care if they're
I
shit talking.
hardly
That really
ever.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got wrenches, pretty much everywhere, but I don't hardly ever use them except for like what you said, look up channels and see who got their comment deleted.
Yeah, I really do like to see everybody's channel because if they have something going on, I'll watch it.
Hmm.
But other than that, I don't care.
Yeah.
Was
And
Chuckles
you
in
can
the
see if
chat?
it's a fake account.
Yeah, that too. Usually somebody will say it before I can even think about it, but a lot of the channels I don't have wrenches, so it doesn't matter. But somebody
Right.
says it. They'll say, oh, they're real or they're not or whatever. It's only Rod Plum, Zippity Doodah. They're a new person for the last few days. I always wonder who they
I
were before the new name.
I've seen them around a while. It seems like I know who that is, but I can't remember. Or maybe not. Fuck, I don't know.
I think just this week I saw them
I
say
think
they were new here,
I think
but
maybe they
that
said what they
doesn't.
did for a living or suck. Man, I can't remember. Dude, I've met so many new people lately. Like people that usually just lurk have started, reaching out to me on Instagram and stuff, and it's pretty neat. Like they never talk in the chat, but they lurk all the time, which is fine.
Yeah, that's what Serena said she's been doing. She's been lurking for a long time, she said.
Yeah.
I talked her into the panel last night. So I wasn't there last night though, so that I talked her into coming back today because I liked her.
Right on. She seems pretty cool.
Yeah,
She tolerated my hitting on her, which is a plus.
yeah,
Oh, that was Bick. Okay.
won't work. Oh, Vic was pretending to be Chuckles.
Apparently, which I kind of wondered about because, I gave Bick access to my StreamYard because he fucking paid for a year of it. So, kind of figured I should. But so he can get in there and mess around with stuff. And I wondered about that because the screen got soloed and I didn't do it. So I kind of thought maybe it was Bick.
Is he the one that's been doing, he's from Florida and has been doing, he did the beach a few times? Is that the same
No,
Vic?
he's from Australia.
Oh. There's another Bic then, right? It's just
Not that I
Bic.
know
It
of.
doesn't say Bic Dickhead.
I don't know.
No?
Maybe there is.
Or maybe it's Ben. I'm thinking of Ben. B-I-N.
Yeah, yeah. There's a Ben. He was on somebody's. I think Terrence's maybe. Oh, which people I talked to Terrence today, and um, he might come back, but it don't sound very promising. He's dealing with some personal issues. He's got to take care of. So, but he's okay.
Oh, that's good. I like Terrence. A nice guy.
Hmm. Yeah, not bad if you don't mind Canadians.
No, I mean, I don't really think about where people are from usually. Just kind of depends how they are. I mean, I'm almost Canadian. Pretty fucking close.
Right.
I was on a few days ago showing Sydney Harbor. No, it was somebody else. They were definitely in Florida. I think it was Ben that I saw that did a thing. I could be wrong. Who knows? Fucking everything blurs together. There's so many fucking people live all the time now. It's like confusing. If I see something that looks familiar, I try to click it and watch it for a few minutes, and I'll like it, and then I just go on about my business.
Okay. All right.
We're done.
Honey, that I'm trying to text with right now, I can't answer you back without jumping off of here. So I don't know what your answer means. I think we'll just plan this for either later today or maybe sometime like Sunday evening or whatever.
All right. Well, I know it's super late where you are. It's super late where I am. So I'll hop off here, and
Yeah, we're on the
we'll
same
catch you.
we're on the same time.
We are. So I will be around whenever you come back.
All right. Yeah, it won't be for a while. Like I said, I didn't really feel like going live tonight, but I don't know. I just
Well,
kind of wanted to hit on the new girl.
we appreciate you folding to the peer pressure.
Right on. It don't take much sometimes.
All right, man. I'll catch you later.
All right, y'all go to. I don't even know who all's live right now. I think. Fuck. I don't know who all is live right now. I didn't get all the way through checking. I said hello on Meow's stream, and then they wanted me to continue it here for whatever reason. But Serena, I really enjoyed meeting you, and I appreciate you coming on board. All right, y'all stay naked, and I'll see you. I don't know when. I don't know. Later today or tomorrow. I don't fucking know. I know I'm not going to be going live for as long as I have been. So, anyway, y'all stay naked.